It's Friday afternoon. Well, Friday morning when this releases, of course. But welcome back for another brand new episode of the Beyond Expedition podcast with your two most favorite co-hosts in the entire world, myself, Eduardo, and my boy Brett. And of course, man, honestly, man, you look like a high roller of a lawyer that you would honestly, if I was a millionaire, trillionaire, whatever you want to call it, I'd hire you to be my lawyer. But before we get into your ensemble, I want to ask you, as always, how are you doing today, brother?
Fantastic. Just paying taxes like every other
Okay.
good red-blooded American would, just happy to keep funding these missiles that keep shooting down these little, hobby balloons. So, yeah.
What do we call them in our past year's episode? Little Fiats.
What about you, my good man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Not too bad. Not too bad. Just got done eating, so I'm pretty stuffed right now. I had a carne asada
Nice.
burrito, delicious. So I'm
Nice.
I'm not doing too bad, man. I'm here. I'm chilling. We're in the virtual studio once again,
Yes,
peeps.
we
As you could
are.
tell, the one that Brett built with his bare hands.
Mm-hmm.
This
Bunch
is
of
us.
nails and
Yeah.
like super glue.
The
Yeah.
little paper
Yeah.
sticks that they use in remember in was it preschool or kindergarten, the little like popsicle sticks.
Yeah. Yeah. And some metaverse glue.
Thanks, Elon. Well,
Yeah.
something funny right off rip, right? We're gonna get into it, like as always.
Yeah,
The
of
one
course.
tweet that had me rolling, and I sent it to you immediately, was there's actually, well, interestingly enough, on some real stuff, Elon Musk is on the cusp of buying. I forgot what network. I think it was like ABC Network or something like that. Like he was ready to drop billions on it for whatever reason, and he was gonna rearrange or he was gonna like cancel a show on there. I really don't remember of it, but he's balling like out of his mind. But he made a joke, obviously, right? He's like, next order of business, I want to buy out Coca-Cola, and I'm gonna put cocaine back in there. I'm like,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
I'm like, oh
Oh man.
Elon, oh man, if you did, dude, oh that would be wild. I'll tell you
You
that,
know,
man.
I know he's such a polarizing figure, because I remember when he first got into crypto, he
Mm-hmm,
was playing with the Dogecoin, but then
mm-hmm.
all of a sudden we thought he was taking it serious by buying Bitcoin and telling people you could buy Teslas with Dogecoin, but and then all of a sudden everything dropped and then all of a sudden everybody hated him. But I a little bit of Elon news myself. I guess he was a speaker at one of the WEF little conferences,
Okay,
and WEF. I don't know if you know, but they're trying to like rule the world right now with this whole Great Reset ploy,
okay.
and and basically make us all eat bugs and the whole nine yards. You
Live
you
off
will
the Mother
be
Earth, yeah.
yeah, you'll be
Mm-hmm,
poor, but you'll be happy, yada
mm-hmm.
yada yada. So
Okay.
he went and told them like all to their faces. Of course, he's on a big screen, but he says, maybe like I'm just paraphrasing, but he's like, maybe this whole like global domination thing isn't gonna work. Like maybe we shouldn't go for this. Maybe,
Yeah.
and it was just cute watching all those elitist snobs just sort of like just stand there just going, this is not at all. It was almost like that time when Kanye West was next to Mike Myers, and during Katrina, they were doing a
Yeah.
fundraising thing, and all of a sudden he says, "George Bush doesn't like black people," and it was like, Mike Myers just like, "What?"
He looked at
Like,
him, he turned around, was like, what?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was,
Oh
it was
man.
as equally, although of course they hide all that from us, but it was as equally of a shock to
Yeah.
those people over there
Yeah.
to hear someone that they invited basically telling them all to their face, maybe this whole thing that you're planning isn't going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
He's yeah, bravo, man. Bravo, Elon. I call him the real Tony Stark because he comes close to him as in just tech, what he's doing. He's just smart man overall, right?
yeah,
He's pretty much kind of like doing his own thing in a sense. He's really like not he's doing his own thing with Twitter. Like at first we thought he probably lost that deal with Twitter at the very beginning of those negotiations and
yeah,
him
we
moving
didn't
on to
think of that.
buying it. And it's he's just flipping that whole thing around. It's crazy. So I mean, hey, I'm just curious to see what happens
I
with
just
what other ventures he's going to get into, or what he's going to, if he's going to really purchase ABC, the ABC network, I believe it was. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he definitely has a lot of things that he wants to do, especially with like, going to Mars and all that stuff. So he's doing a lot of things. I'll tell you that.
yeah. It's like he just can't do enough. But I just got this little headline from my boy Scott,
All
and
right,
he
let's read it.
says
Shout out
that
Scott.
Twitter to charge for SMS two-factor authentication.
Hmm.
And just says, as of March 20, Twitter will mandate the use of Twitter Blue for two-factor authentication for via SMS. Twitter has stated that users who are still employing SMS keys for two-factor authentication and haven't subscribed to Blue will have this feature disabled after the cutoff date.
Hmm. I
So,
think it's very, I want to say, it's interesting to me how, on Twitter, obviously, if you have the blue check mark, it's almost like a symbol of status at that point, right? Like, because you're someone official, you're someone of like, people know you, right? When they
mm-hmm,
released this whole thing of like, you can own a blue check, but it's going to cost you, I think, $5 a month to, and it blew my mind to think, people legit buy into this whole concept that for you to have that blue check to our name, like if us, right, we wanted to look more official, we
mm-hmm,
would want that blue check next to our name if we had a Twitter, which we don't. We only have an Instagram. Go follow us, Be Honest Petition Podcast. But that would definitely, like in a sense, in the eyes of certain individuals, that would solidify us and put some type of status on us. Like, oh, they got a blue check mark. Yo, they're official for sure. But now they switched it to like gold. Like in order for you to be official of the official, you have to have a gold check mark instead of the blue. I'm like,
yeah. Well, and then also, if you're a government
oh,
employee, you have a gray check mark.
okay. I didn't know that.
He's sort of like categorizing the users to let people know who they're talking to. And
Mm,
so I think, I mean, I like it. I like what he's doing, and I think that if you are someone who wants to be official, um, the defense that people have against having to pay for the blue check mark is they say, well, the blue check mark prevents people from impersonating you,
yeah.
and making a page and whatnot. Well, we live in a world where we know that with safety, you do have to pay a little bit of money. I
Mm-hmm.
know my VPN isn't free. I
Mm-hmm.
know that the security measures that I have, whether it's in my house, my home, or my phone, my finances, my crypto, my whatever. Like there's fees to all of these things that I do. So for people to sort of cop out about this Twitter thing, you got to pay to play, homie. You got to pay to play.
Pay to play. They use that reference a lot in and buying all these like all this stuff in video games. Like if you want to get new guns, new camos and all that, that slogan's always used. You got to pay to play. That's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
funny.
Fortnite had me on that for a while. I'd be getting new skins, new dances. What do they call them? Emotes.
I don't know, man. I don't know, but
I think
yeah, I do.
the last dance I bought was The Weekend, Bright Lights. He did the little dance where he's just
Yeah,
like, yeah,
you're like, I need to have it. Boom,
like, and
purchase.
then yeah, and then after that I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done. You know.
That's funny. That's funny. Oh man. So today we actually are loaded with a few topics. If you get through them, I know we like to go down a deep rabbit hole once we start this little segment, the WTF segment of this episode, which we definitely dive into random episode. If you're a first time viewer or listener to this podcast, we just dive into the most random topics that happen throughout the week, and we bring them here to the podcast into the virtual studio. We lay them here on this table and we dissect them and we just talk about it and just get lost in the sauce with it. So out of the
Definitely.
mini topics, so I'm gonna, man, it's kind of hard to go which one to start with because it's just so interesting. But there's one in particular that I actually brought to you or brought to your attention in regards of drones and dead birds. How do those two go together? I'm gonna tell you right
Drone.
now, and I'm gonna blow your little
Okay.
minds. All
All
right,
right.
so the title of this is called "Scientists Turned Dead Birds into Terrifying Zombie Drones That Really Fly." So this was posted on the 18th of this month on February 2023, and let's get into this.
Yeah.
The birds aren't real. Conspiracy may have just found a new leg to stand on. According to new research, scientists have managed to take dead birds and turn them into drones. According to a new report by New Scientist, a project that relies on putting drones into dead birds could help improve how we snoop on wildlife in the future or snoop on humans. Of course, these dead birds drones aren't likely to only be used for watching wildlife. Instead, they'll likely see some military usage as well, especially if engineers can make them blend in even more by using flapping wing drones. The overall idea here seems to be focused on giving humans unbridled access to better wildlife surveillance. And it's easy to admit how using dead bird drones that actually blend into nature could offer something like that. However, the implications of how this could be used for military purposes is, of course, concerning for some. But until we really know more, it's hard to focus on the negatives when there are a number of positives. Currently, surveilling wildlife can be difficult, especially if you're dealing with animals that are still scared of humans. As such, having dead birds that can fly in unnoticed and without causing alarm could give us access to a wealth of data we don't already have on animals. Further, the drones, which can be seen in the video above, which there's a little video here. I'll plug this up in the description of the video down below on the YouTube page when this releases, so you can check out this video of it. It's pretty nuts. And that's because the creators combined bodies of taxidermized pheasants and pigeons to make it work. Of course, further development is needed to implement a more advanced range of motions, including the ability to land. These dead birds drones aren't the first we've seen. We've seen researchers bring back dead animals back to life in one way or another. Previously, researchers transformed dead spiders into powerful grabbers in a weird experiment. So, my man, they're gonna bring back these dead birds, not bring back from being dead, but obviously they're gonna bring them to
They're
life
gonna repurpose their carcasses.
pretty much. like, again, I want to be in these boardrooms, be like, you know what? What would be the latest in technology? Now, let's think about drones for a minute. What would be make something less visible in the eye to where you wouldn't think that is a drone? It's just a regular bird. I got
Right.
it. Let's use dead birds. And wait a minute, here it is. Turn them into drones.
Well, I have to say though, this isn't
Okay.
the first I've ever heard of this type of concept. This is the first I've heard with an aerial
Yeah.
concept of it. But growing up in Montana, we knew that the Department of Fish and Wildlife would use dummy deer out in the
Mm-hmm.
field. So
Mm-hmm.
they'd put little fake deer out there that would, bob their head up and down like they're eating, and then they'd have like a fish and wildlife officer nearby, and so that if a hunter, road hunter came by and popped a shot at it illegally, they would take him down. They would,
Mm-hmm.
because then the hunter would come over, and then of course he'd be met with fish and wildlife officer. So I have heard of this concept before, but to catch poachers. But you're saying that in this article that these scientists want to be able to get closer
Mm-hmm.
to these other animals and sort of
Mm-hmm.
and look at them and be able to research them without spooking them.
Yes,
But
correct.
then also we have that scary element to it
Military
too.
for military
Yeah,
purposes, my friend. And we've talked about
hate
this
that.
before on the podcast in regards to drones being used for warfare. That's going to be the next big thing. There's a lot of rumblings within the interwebs about how they're strapping, bombs to these things. And we're talking about a swarm of drones. There's a movie out there that it stars Gerard Butler, and there's actually a scene of a swarm of drones that look like it's just a flock of birds, but they're
Uh-huh.
drones, and they're set with some type of bomb on there, and they explode. And I mean, they're so difficult. Like they're flying fast, and we already have
Yeah.
seen. I mean, people have probably seen on videos or maybe in real life. These drones flying around. They're pretty quick. So I mean, you put those two
It
together, and you put something
and it
up there that looks
doesn't
like a bird.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be a bomb. It can be like natural agents such as anthrax.
Oh yeah.
It
Mm-hmm.
can, this thing going on Ohio, what do they call it? Vinyl chloride.
Yes.
Just take a little bit of that and drop it on a society.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it can
It's
get dicey. It can get dicey. I think honestly, you know, we've got to figure out a way to keep our militaries in check. We need a budget, and I mean we're talking like globally, like have representatives in each country to be like, hey, America, we pick Elon Musk. Elon Musk, you're the one in charge of keeping this military in check. And then on all the other China, Elon should probably cover China's as well. I don't quite trust
right.
who they're gonna
Say,
pick.
I'm gonna need you to
Uh, mm-mm.
You should be the
Uh-uh.
man for the job, man. I feel like you're dressed for the occasion, man. You should definitely be that type. All right, I'm gonna need to see all credentials and see what we're working up in here to see, make sure that it's not gonna invade our privacy. All right, or
Yeah.
be a threat to humanity or to civilians here in the U.S.
Yeah. Well, right before we started filming, I didn't get time to get dressed for the podcast, so I was
Yeah.
just going through applicants for, producers of our show. Multiple, our inbox was flooded, so I was just sort of going through
Going through interviews.
applicants, doing
Okay.
some interviews. There's some promising talent out there,
Okay. Fair
uh,
enough. Fair enough.
but yeah, I don't think we have enough to pay them.
Will you accept maybe a trade of some sort?
Could could you take some crypto? Do you accept crypto? I've got
Maybe
a
Doge? Doge?
maybe a little bit of Dogecoin. That's
Oh man.
probably what Elon Musk does too. He's like, I'm
So do
sure
you
there's
think
people.
so actually now we're speaking about Doge, there was a rumor. I don't know if it's a rumor as of now. They were trying to implement Doge into Twitter somehow. Have you heard about
I
that?
heard that too, and I think it's
Okay.
brilliant. Even though well, so the reason I don't support Dogecoin is because it has an infinite supply.
Okay.
Just it's no different than the US dollar. They
Mm.
can print as much as they want, yada yada yada.
No
If you
limit.
want real worth of a coin or currency, it's got to have a cap, right?
Okay.
Like gold. The reason why gold is as valuable as it is because it's valued on what is still left in the earth. You have to go and you have to mine it, but we know there's a finite supply of gold. There's a finite supply of silver, and they are priced accordingly. However, the military is the only thing supporting the value of the US dollar. It used to be the petrodollar, and it was valued in trade with the oil in the 70s. And before that, it was held to the gold standard. But now it's just military might. So if
Mm.
someone takes our military out, the US dollar will be worthless in a nanosecond.
Mm.
So anyway, but back to Doge, there's a lot of coins, a lot of cryptocurrencies that are just have an infinite supply. There's just they're what you call algorithmic tokens, where it's just they're created out of thin air. Absolutely worthless, absolutely
Okay.
worthless. And
I see.
so I didn't like Doge. If he would have went with Bitcoin or something with a finite supply, I would have been all for it, all for
Mm,
it.
interesting. So you don't think it can somehow? Do you think it's kind of late in the game? And I'm asking questions because obviously this is something that now I'm kind of understanding kind of how that would work and just the background of it. Do you think you could still make some edits or some changes within the coin itself to where he limits it or puts a limit to it and it's done, or is it just kind of if it's already too much late in the game for him to do that?
Well, so Elon doesn't control Doge, I don't think, does he?
I thought he was like
Did
a
he buy it?
I don't know. That's what I
Okay.
thought. I don't know. Again, I'm asking this question because I'm not really too well informed
Yeah,
in that
I'd
world.
have to go back to research that. I know he has something to do with it, but
Okay.
maybe he did. I don't know. But yes, to answer your question though, whoever owns it or whoever is the developer behind Doge, it's an open, open code, open source, and so whoever the developer is or developers are, they can go in and they could give it a cap supply, and
Mm.
um, and so that
Mm.
would then be valued on the money that is spent in it. And that would be a huge win for Doge holders. And it would give Doge real utility. Like you need, you can't buy stuff in Twitter through with fiat currency. We're not going to allow it. You have to use Doge. And then however, that's a hard one to get around because if you look at your paper currency, if you read it, I don't have a money in front of me because I'm broke. But anyway, but if you read on it, it says legal tender for all um, uh, purchases or whatever, private and public. So technically, all someone would have to do is take him to court because there have been people that say, nope, debit card only. And
Yeah.
the customers said, no, this is the legal currency, and you have to take this cash whether you want to or not, or I will turn you into the BBB, you know?
Ah, so that's
So
how it works. Okay.
so that's how, yeah. So until Congress approves of something else to be legal tender, so such as El Salvador turned Bitcoin into legal tender.
Mm-hmm.
So, so people, the only way you can't use El Salvador is like, say you go to one of their volcanoes, and in the area there's just like no internet, then they will accept cash out there, or
Okay,
maybe a
okay.
credit card or whatever. But Bitcoin, you do need internet access to use it. So, but anyway, yeah. But everywhere else, they can use Bitcoin as legal tender.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So, with that being said, for anybody that wants to work for us, I mean, Brett's going to be conducting the interviews. Just send in your resume, and you might be hired. You know, like again, you might be paid in Doge for as long as until we blow up. You know, so yeah,
Yeah.
definitely send
But
your
I think,
resumes in.
well, yeah, if I have to pay, I'll create my own cryptocurrency. We'll have to create our own thing, and it might be algorithmic for a while.
There you go. Our own, what is it? Crypto coin coming soon. So just stay tuned for that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll go.
so in other words, they're making these drones from the dead carcasses of these dead birds. So be expecting that. Now, that's crazy. So you ever hear about the pigeon conspiracy, how these pigeons aren't real, and that the only reason why they hang around these power lines is so they can charge themselves, because they're always just like, hanging out there sometimes, and then they fly away. And
Okay.
there was this video that
Yes.
came out. They were talking about that. This I think it was a kid explaining to him, but like, you see those pigeons up there? It's like, how come we always see them on power lines? Because they're charging themselves up, so that way they can
Yeah.
keep going. I'm like, oh man, I never thought about that. So my mind just started spinning at that point.
So, okay, so here's what I understand about that whole birds aren't real
Yeah.
conspiracy. I could be wrong, but I thought it was a play on flat earthers. I thought
Oh,
it
I
was
don't
like a
know.
way to troll flat earthers, like, oh yeah, if the earth is flat, well then birds aren't real. And
Yeah.
then so someone had started that, and then that's when it grew into
Oh,
what
okay,
it is
okay.
now, where now they're looking at power lines. Yeah, they're charging, bro. So that's how I understood it was just a play on flat earthers, which
Okay. I
I,
didn't
I
know that.
I'll troll a flat earther anytime I can get, so I'm with you, man. Birds aren't real.
Pigeons aren't real, people. So next time you see whatever, it could be a pigeon, an eagle, for I mean, probably not an eagle, because it's like the symbolic, bird of America. So it's like, I don't think they'd use an eagle. I mean, we never know. But if it's like a hawk or something else, you never know. It's probably looking down at you. Just
Yeah,
saying, we're just
yeah.
letting you know. You're to hear on Beyond Expectation. So another what happened to that boy? That's the first song.
Yeah. I'm so glad you went there.
All right. So the next topic on the agenda, which we've discussed multiple times here on this lovely podcast, we were talking about how in San Francisco they were talking about the robot dogs, letting them out there, which I did read. Actually, they let one out patrolling the streets with a submachine gun attached on top of it, which
No,
is
they did
what
not.
that's. I swear I saw an article of that. I wanted to look for it again before we started this podcast, but obviously time at the essence became where like I was just scrounging through to just come up with some topics or look through some other through my email, and I couldn't find it. But I promise you, we'll bring it up if I do come across it on our next episode, so I'm more well prepared, so I can actually read the article talking about it. So I'll give the proper information because we're
Wow.
professionals, of course, like I said, right? So this one though, get ready for this one, all right?
All right.
Wild. Combat AI road dogs follow telepathic commands from soldiers. Called a brain. No, hold on. That's not the beginning. Okay, right here. A breakthrough in artificial intelligence being tested by the Australian military reportedly allows soldiers to control robot dogs solely with their minds. Called a brain robotic interface, the state of the art artificial intelligence through a high tech biosensor headset analyzes brainwave readings and feeds them from a person's visual cortex into the advanced RoboDog, Newsflash reported. The whole process is not difficult to master. It's very intuitive. It only took a couple sessions, said 5th Combat Service Support Battalion Sergeant Damon Robinson, who test drove the HoloLens headset. Robinson and fellow soldiers did course training with the mind reading headsets and robodogs, in which they were able to successfully navigate harsh terrain and bad weather on a makeshift battlefield. The current key to keeping the bots on course are flickering beacons, seen as augmented reality in the headsets, which work as waypoints to the canine that the canine like automatons move towards. You don't have to think anything specific to operate the robot, but you do need to focus on that flicker. Robinson said it's more of a visual concentration thing. The technology, which was viewed by a $1.2 million military investment, was worked on for the past 3 years in a collaboration between the University of Technology in Sydney and the Army's Robotic and Autonomous Implementation and Coordination Office. So far, the dog manufactured by Ghost Robotics is capable of 9 different commands during a fixed time, according to Professor Chin Ten Lin. Doing doing so came via the breakthrough that minimized noise from both the operator's environment and their own body. The HoloLens' unprecedented efficiency comes by the way of ultra-thin compound known as a graphene, which is described as being many times stronger than steel, yet incredibly lightweight and flexible. We've been able to combine the best of graphene, which is very biocompatible and very conductive, with the best of silicone technology, which makes our biosensor very resilient and robust to use, said the professor Francesca Lacopi, a fellow project leader.
Dang, dude. That's
You're like, how do I get myself on one of those robot
well,
dogs?
no, I mean, there's just a few things I heard, like the graphene. I could have swore I heard that they put that in our latest mandated, you know, thing that we can't talk about on YouTube.
So that I also heard. Again, this is me from just listening to countless podcasts and just stuffing my face in all these random articles having to do with UAPs. Could it be one of those technologies that we found on these things, or that something that came from that? I don't know. That's the rumor. That's what I heard. I don't know, but stuff like that. That's robust. It's very flexible, and it's stronger than metal. That's what they were saying.
Yeah, stronger than steel.
Dude, I don't know, man, but hey, being able to put something on your head and be able to just telepathically control something that's weaponized, dude,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I swear, this is the time that gets me like excited, but it's kind of scary at the same time.
Well,
You
it's
know what I'm
like,
saying?
okay, like it seems like the bad guy seems to always shift, and like I think the since Biden has taken office, the new bad guy, like what they're saying is like parent teacher PTA conferences, the FBI got involved in PTA meetings because the parents were like, "You're not going to run our school with this critical race theory and all these other
Mm-hmm.
crazy things. We just want our kids to learn education, not social justice, And they were getting upset about that, and so then someone had brought the department, Merrick Garland in here. I think he's what, Department of Justice, and brought the FBI in to start tracking parents. And then the latest thing with the FBI is they started going after Catholics. Catholics, not just any Catholics, Catholics that did their mass in Latin because they were calling that right-wing extremism. And so what I'm
What?
saying though is, like, if we get to this day and age where the bad guy seems to get shifted, it's no longer like people selling meth on the streets. Like, those guys are okay. It's the Latin mass at the Catholic, church. Those are who
Oh
we are
man.
after. I want you to send the graphene robot to them. That PTA conference, take all those parents out because they're,
Oh
you know what I
man.
mean? So, who is the bad guy first? Who is the
That's
bad
what's
guy?
crazy. It's like you said, it's shifting every other week or day, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, it's just yeah, that's crazy. What you're saying, right? I mean, I'm most likely going to be a target, Brett. So I'm gonna if something else is not going to take me out, it's going to be one of those robotic dogs taking me out. I'm just saying it right
I've
now.
I've already sealed my fate. I have already told my family goodbye, and it's just a matter of time
Oh
before they
man.
finally catch up to me. And I'm because of wrong think, I'm now in Guantanamo, you know, and you're gonna get pictures of you know soldiers peeing on me, like Biden's brown shirts peeing on me, and they're posting it on the internet, and I'm just completely humiliated, and
Oh man.
it's only a
Once we
matter of
see
time, my
those, yeah.
man.
I'm just I like. I'm telling you, this to me. I look at that as like a freestyle because you go so into detail, and the more you put it, like you put it out there for me to kind of like piece everything together. I'm like, that's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Oh man, well, I hope that's not the case, but yeah, man, this is I don't know, like it just seems more and more like they're really going to try to implement this around civilians. I mean, like you said, they're doing it in San Francisco. And in that same article that I was referring to in regards about putting a submachine gun on top of one of these things, they're
Hmm.
talking about LA is talking about investing in some of that too for their streets. So I don't know,
See,
man. I mean,
this is what I don't understand about the hypocrisy. Before we were recording, I was just telling you about in California, basically the Ninth Circuit just agreed that well, so basically they overruled. It was, I think, the Supreme Court overruled the Ninth Circuit, or maybe the Ninth Circuit is whatever. I don't know how
mhm.
all that works. I'm not a legal guy. I'm just dressed like one for TV. But
He's just trying to fit the look, baby. Let's
anyway,
go.
so the whole thing is California had tried to implement this weapon high capacity magazine ban on legal gun owners, right? So
Mhm.
instead of attacking like gun crime, so here it's just so weird because like people that were committing crimes in inner cities with guns were not getting in trouble, and but then all of a sudden they'd say, but because people got shot, we need more restrictive gun laws. But they weren't doing anything to the people that were actually breaking the
Breaking
law
the
with
law.
the gun. They were letting them go, saying, oh, society raised them wrong, just like having a litany of excuses. But at the same time, implementing laws for legal gun owners. So that was the high capacity magazines. Well, the Supreme Court said, nope, can't do it. So once that goes live, I think that goes live in March, and because Galvin Newsom already had the conference saying that it looks like it's going to go in that way, and he's mad. He's one angry bird, and so if that goes through and the Supreme Court does make the ruling that we think they're going to make,
Mhm.
then Washington State, which is the state we live in, could fall under that same thing. And now I'm grandfathered in, so every single gat and firearm I own is would be deemed a high capacity magazine. And so I'm legal again, which I'm legal no matter what because I'm grandfathered in because I
Yeah.
bought it before the law took place. But now I can go to Cabela's or Bass Pro, and I can get more. I can buy more. I can now
Nice.
buy guns because I was looking at guns the other day, and I said, "Do any of these guns in here, can I buy them with more than 10 rounds?" They said, nope, nope, we can't sell anything with
Mm.
more than 10 rounds. So if this Supreme Court thing goes through in March, then game on for
Give me that hundo
Washingtonians.
clip. Give me that 100 barrel or the
Yeah,
100 drum.
yeah.
The drum.
You you have any 500 round magazines?
I'm
I
looking
just
more.
reloading is just a pain in the butt to me. I just all that time just putting one by one like
You're like, I'm looking more in the round, the vicinity of 100 rounds, maybe, or 500,
yeah.
if you have it.
It's just weird because I feel like I've been seeing up in the sky a lot of balloons lately. I see like these birds that look like birds, but I
Oh
don't know if they're
man.
birds. And I'd like to
Oh
just you know, just see if it's a real bird or not.
yeah, for
You
sure,
know,
man, for
I
sure.
see these little graphene dogs running around my neighborhood. I think one even pooped little
Oh,
graphene
dude,
nuggets in my yard.
we're gonna need it for sure, man. If those things just
Ugh.
go out of hand and they just somehow accidentally kills a civilian or something, man, it's nah, man. I think we're just like I always say, we're living in very interesting times with all this tech. Just they're implementing AI with this, and then we got these
Yeah.
robotics things walking around. I don't know, man. And also, just to kind of shift the subjects into just to switch subjects in regards to like what we're talking about. What's this whole deal with the Ohio train wrecks? I know we brought it up kind of vaguely off air, and I said we're going to talk about it here. So, from what I know, these chemicals are they're bad and they're not good because they got into the creeks of in the Ohio rivers, I think, or
Mm,
the creeks and the Ohio River, I think. I'm not sure.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so and they're saying it's like it's cancerous, and it definitely is something that should not be around people. But then the most crazy thing is that when there that fire broke out, or when the explosion happened, I don't know how much far of a radius, like mile wise, like how many of these animals got affected and they died.
I think it was like a 20-mile radius or something like that. Yeah, I mean, and like the cloud that erupted, there were people all the way up in Canada that could smell this
No way, really?
chemical. Yeah, yeah, all the way up in Canada. Um,
Wow.
and this is like probably one of the worst stories that I've seen in my life because, um, like we need a Kanye moment right now, like Kanye and Katrina, because like I guess what happened is the federal government has denied
I
the
saw that.
Ohio governor's request for FEMA assistance.
Hmm.
The government has said, you didn't meet the mark. And it's like everybody can see the dead animals. There are now reports of people starting to cough up blood, and
Oh
so
man.
the thing behind it, what the only thing people can come to can conclude is when they look at the voting record. They said that this county that this happened in, it's like 71% Trump voters, and so they're saying that the Biden administration hates Trump so bad that now he's lashing out on Trump voters, and so he's not giving them any. He's essentially letting them die on the government's tab.
That's
And so,
insane. I didn't know about the whole Canada being able to smell it. That itself is wild. It's that serious, and also
mhm,
people getting affected by this. In the grand scheme of things, man, if it happened on our soil, we should definitely help out those people, or help out that where it happened. Of course, to clean it up or to contain it, because I mean, it's a ripple effect, man. This is just the first couple dominoes falling. I can just already predict right now, and I'm calling it out on the podcast. Something's gonna happen from this, man. And then not just that one, didn't a second one occur happen too, like a little bit after that?
Detroit just 2 days later, and then or just 2 days ago, I should say, and then in Texas there was a semi truck that ran into a train or something like that, and that yeah, it's like four
It's
chemical
insane,
things in the
man.
last like month that have happened.
Insane, dude. And there was a video out there floating around on Twitter. It was this lady that was just, she threw a rock inside the creek where some of the stuff got contaminated in,
I
dude.
saw
And it
that.
was like that rainbowish effect that just came out of there once the rock hit the surface. I'm like, that's not good
Oh
at
yeah,
all. It
you're
should not
looking
look
at
like that.
farms like chicken owners. The lady said, "Yeah, yesterday they were okay. I came out, they're all dead. Um, they're like animals, dogs that aren't getting
Yep,
back up, and all this thing, and and to see the government's response in this, like could you imagine if this were Trump in office and this happened in New York, or this happened in LA, or some liberal stronghold, where it was 71 percent Biden or Hillary Clinton voters, and Trump said, no, I'm not going to send you Katrina or send you FEMA. What if George Bush in did not send FEMA in to help during Katrina?
yeah,
You know what I mean? You just we're all paying taxes for this kind of
for
stuff,
sure.
and that's supposed to be our insurance, to know that the government is there to take care of us no matter how I vote. And yet when government becomes weaponized against certain people, it's one of the most horrific things that you can see. So this is, the silver lining in this is, that the people are realizing that they have to help themselves, and so there have been people reaching out, and there was one guy that drove like a ton of water to the community. There was another guy that gave some lady enough water for her horses to drink, so that they didn't have to give them contaminated water. So
True.
people, like the real people, the people with hearts that aren't evil, cynical devils in human form,
Yeah.
are taking action, and they're actually helping one another. Meanwhile, we spent $587 million to shoot down one of those one things that they're trying to call UFOs, but could have possibly been a hobby balloon, you
Yeah.
know. And so we're shooting that, and we don't even know what we're shooting. So what are we doing? Trying to create another Malaysia flight, you know, and where you're just someone's missile, it just shoots down an airplane. You know, it's like he was Biden was so embarrassed by this balloon coming, and they said that they were tracking this balloon. We talked about in Balloon Go Boom.
Yeah.
They were tracking it. They said that they saw it launch, they saw it go over Hawaii, but then they said that they suddenly lost track when it went off course, and then it went up through Alaska and then down through Canada, and then finally it wasn't until that Billings Gazette journalist, photographer, I should say, saw it, and then all of a sudden brought it to America's attention. But Biden was completely humiliated, and he's just like, you know, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And then they let it go all the way across the country. So China got everything that they were looking for, but now all of a sudden these other things they're shooting, and then they're calling them UFOs. We don't even know what they are. You know, like I said in the last episode, it was probably just Biden hiring, you know, the military, employing the military to say, hey, throw something up there, and then let's just look like we're doing something. But
Yeah,
then
sacked it
when the
out.
real threat was there, he like literally let them blow over the whole country. It's atrocious. Like, you know, it just reminds me, it's just right on par with that whole Afghanistan retreat, when it was the most humiliating, most devastating
Yeah, that's
retreat
crazy.
of leaving Afghanistan. And, you know, they kept putting it on Trump, saying, oh, Trump, you know, put the deadline in, but it was like, there was utter and complete chaos. And it was an embarrassment. It was a black eye on America. And it's just like, ever since then, we've had embarrassment after embarrassment with the military. The latest one being the pipeline, and not the latest one, but the one that's getting a lot of attention now is that pipeline, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, that
Mm,
people are starting to realize that was most likely America.
dang.
So, you know, and if they can finally prove it, if Russia can prove it, that would be seen as an act of war.
Yep.
And it's no longer a proxy war at that point. Now that basically gives Putin the green light to attack our infrastructure. And if we've already proven that we can't track a silly balloon 60,000 feet above us, what more can Putin do if he decides to basically get retribution and and attack with equal level response?
And also another thing in regards to we're talking about like Ukraine and all that. I sat down one day to realize, you know what, like we're sending them weapons, we're sending them tanks. It's almost like we're using them as pawns to fight a war, like
Well, that's
almost
what a
pinning the,
proxy war is.
yeah, like pretty much giving them the tools, go do the work. We're gonna watch from afar, and then we'll
Mhm.
see what happens.
We did the same thing in the Middle
Insane,
East.
dude.
All of these countries, these were all proxy wars. We're going to do the same thing with China through Taiwan. We're going to give Taiwan all these, you know, weapons or whatever if China does decide to invade. And so, you know, then we can, you know, legally say, oh yeah, we're not, you know, it's not American troops, but it is American money. It's, you know, like this thing in Ukraine has been $196 billion we've given them since the beginning of this invasion.
But hey,
And
we can't
now,
help out Ohio though. We can't
and then
help out
the
Ohio. Nope, no, we can't.
not Ohio. Ohio, you guys voted for the wrong guy.
You're on your
Yep.
own.
You
Too
guys
bad.
voted. Yep. You guys are on your own.
That's insane. That's where it rose me off the wrong way. Honestly, it's like you can't help your own people here. Like, don't get me wrong, Ukraine and all that. What's going on? I'm not with that. But at the same time, it's like you kind of need to take care of what's going on in your homeland here, like now,
Right.
right here,
Right.
close, local. I don't know,
Yeah.
man. It's
Well, and
insane, bro.
you know, and this is, I mean, if Democrats think that this is going to be the playbook, that you can just literally do this to half of your country, um, that's not going to work, because the other side would never, they could never get away with it even if they wanted to.
Mm,
um but to see another side so emboldened to actually tell a state that decline FEMA support for a state, it's, I never thought I would live to see this. I
that's
never thought
crazy.
our country would degrade to the point that it has. now. And shame on our government for failing its own people, and then overlooking their woes and their, I mean, the things that they're going to be going through, and not just now, but for decades to come. Many are going to die decades sooner than they were supposed to. They're now going to be dealing with cancer, and it was all because they voted for the wrong person. No American should be going through this. Um, and Ukraine. So basically, the last thing that Ukraine that we haven't given them is airplanes. But basically, Volodymyr Zelensky, he's gotten everything on his wish list up until these airplanes. And so once we give them the airplanes, we will end up giving them the airplanes. We will. Um,
And
but
also, correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry to cut you off. Didn't also Biden just say that we were like there was a certain amount that our tax dollars is going to go into a somewhat of a pension for the Ukrainian people or
yeah,
something
now we're
like?
paying their pensions. Yes, yes. Yes. Meanwhile, we
Oh
are looking at in
man.
July, they're saying that our debt is so high that we cannot even continue to pay our debt come July. And yet we have all this money to give to not only another country for their weapons. And here's the other thing too, is their weapons. So NATO is running out of ammunition to give to supply Ukraine. Ukraine is running out of ammunition. America is running out of ammunition. Russia is not running out of ammunition. So the only thing that is left to support Ukraine is these airplanes. And if we give them the airplanes, I don't know. I don't know how. I mean, I don't know how at this point this can't be a world war,
Yeah.
especially if it is proven that that they can that Putin can find the proof that the U.S. Navy did bomb that Nord Stream 2 pipeline, because that would be a direct. And that's why the government's been so quiet about it. That's why the mainstream media has been so quiet about it, because if Putin does have the proof that he needs, now Sweden has the proof, but they are being tight-lipped. They're not telling not one single nation. They said they have the proof, they know who did it, but they're not telling anyone. And at that time, the whole world was saying, accusing Russia of sabotage. Russia did not spend $11 billion to create this pipeline and spend years doing it just to sabotage their own pipeline. And so now Sweden has the proof, they have the evidence, but they are not telling a soul. So,
Mm.
um,
Dang, I feel like you're like my own personal anchor man, giving me all this stuff that's going on worldwide, and I almost feel like that's why I'm asking you questions because you're setting me in that tone. You know what I'm saying?
that's
That's
funny.
that's why I'm just
No, I
like
just
I'm absorbing everything you're throwing at me. No, but it's wild, man. It's crazy, and of course, we tend to get into these serious modes because it's definitely something of a concern for lovely U.S. of A. It's just the thing that really just grinds my gears is the fact that we can't help our local people, but we can
yeah,
toss millions and millions of dollars for a war over there that's going on. I mean, granted, again, I'm not for war or anything like that, but at the same time, it's like we need to take care of our own here. That's like
yeah,
that should be priority in my eyes. Again, that's just my personal opinion. But man, hey, if it means anything, like I say, from us to Ohio, I know we actually have a couple listeners that listen to us in Ohio. It's definitely devastating what happened to you guys, and it's I just truly wish it never went down this way in regards to you guys getting the support that you need, and giving having a helping hand to try to clean up that mess as bad as it is, with just what happened and all that. It's crazy to me. It's just
well,
insane. The
it's
more when I
weird
read
because
into it.
they say that the normal protocol, that when this type of thing happens, a derailment with chemical liquids, the normal protocol is to come in and bring trucks in to pump all of those that toxic waste out of there, and
Yeah.
then they bring in like bulldozers and whatever, they dig all the soil to the point where there's no more toxins in the area in the ground anymore,
Yeah.
right? But at some point, someone went away from that decision and they said, well, how about we just burn it instead? And a number of people agreed, and they said, yeah, we'll just burn it. And I don't know, I mean, this is where I'm like, who made that decision? And how can we legally hold them to that now, and so that they are responsible for these thousands, tens of thousands of animal deaths, but then also the long term effect it will have on the humans. But when they burn these chemicals that became what was it the I named it earlier.
It's the cloud of poison smoke, pretty much, right?
Yeah, vinyl chloride.
Vinyl chloride. Okay.
And they said that that was a chemical that was used in World War I, that they finally decided at the Geneva Convention to take off the table. That's a weapon of mass destruction. Nobody's going to use that anymore in war. And so what they did was they turned all of that spilled fluid into vinyl chloride over the people of Ohio.
Insane,
And
man. I
so
didn't know
like
that. That's crazy.
who made that decision? And then, yeah, it just, I mean, there's so many twists and turns to this. It literally looks like it was an act of it looked like it was an attack on America's people by its own government. I mean, that's what it
Mm,
looks like. It looks like basically maybe not a direct attack, but it was almost like, hey, this is a crisis. Let's not let it go to waste. All of those people, none of those people voted for us, or most of those people didn't vote for us. So, how can we really inflict as much damage as we can with culpable deniability? And that's
mm.
what it looks like happened.
Insane, dude. Insane. Yeah. I just knew the basics. There was a train crash, poisonous chemicals, a lot of animals died, and now it's looking like that. Even the air to breathe in around that area is just it's cancerous, man. It's not good by any
I
means. So
I couldn't
it's bad.
imagine, like, if my family were there,
Oh,
like
dude.
I could not imagine staying there. I think that, I
I'm
mean,
out
but easier said than done,
for
right?
sure.
You if that's your only way of making money, you can't just up and leave. But how do you
Mhm.
stay when you know what's at stake, when you learn at stake? And some of it's too late. Some of it, like, once it's breathed in, it's breathed in. You can't do anything about it now.
Yeah, man.
So again, it's unbelievable. I
Whew.
cannot believe we are witnessing this, like, this however it happened, but the fact that our government has just done so little to help these people.
Yeah, I think that's the most disappointing thing, right? There's no support given by the government for just that catastrophic accident. It's like it's definitely going to take effect for that town or that part of Ohio that it happened in. It's just there's no act to actually help correcting that. It's just like whatever, just you figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're on your
It's
own.
crazy,
Yeah.
man. It's
And
crazy.
and it's like, so if I'm a taxpayer in Ohio, what did I pay you for?
Exactly.
What did I pay you
Exactly.
for? Why am I paying taxes?
Enough said. Perfectly
It's
said, my
insane.
man. Perfectly said. But in the realms of you were talking about these UAPs showing up all of a sudden now, these weather balloons that they're starting to call UAPs. There's an interesting article that came up on radar in regards to 8 suspicious signals detected from space. And the quote is, "Are we alone?" So
Hmm.
astronomers have discovered 8 suspicious radio signals that they say may be evidence of technological life beyond Earth. A team of experts led by University of Toronto student Peter Ma developed an artificial intelligence algorithm that helped them to detect the signals during an examination of 820 stars at the Green Bank Telescope in West Virginia. The AI algorithm uses machine learning to differentiate between human caused signals, such as those from GPS satellites and cell phones, and potential extraterrestrial ones. Due to interference, the suspicious signals were not picked up in past observations that have taken place at the Green Bank Telescope. We need to distinguish the exciting radio signals in space from the uninteresting radio signals from Earth, Ma declared in his paper published in the Nature Astronomy Journal late last month. He stated that while the 8 signals were not definitive evidence of life beyond Earth, their unexplainable nature fuels theories of extraterrestrial activity. Steve Croft, a scientist of Breakthrough Listen on the Green Bank Telescope, also worked on the project. The key issue with any techno signature search is looking through this huge haystack of signals to find the needle that might be the transmission from an alien world, he said. He explained. The vast majority of the signals detected by our telescopes originate from our own technology. Croft stated that the 8 signals could come from an extraterrestrial source because they are of a narrow band. Quote, human caused signals, on the other hand, tend to be broadband. Furthermore, the signals had a slope, meaning their origin had relative acceleration with antennas and likely did not come from the Earth. They are present when we look at the start and absent when we look away, as opposed to local interference, which is generally always present, Croft said. The signals change in frequency over time in a way that makes them appear far from the telescope. One of Ma's research advisors added that the results dramatically illustrate the power of applying modern machine learning and computer vision methods to data challenges in astronomy. The application of these techniques at a scale will be transformational for radio technosignature science, the expert excitedly said. Ma hopes to use the AI algorithm to examine more stars in a large swath of space. He eventually wants to expand the effort to examine 1 million stars via the Meerkat telescope located in South Africa. We believe that work like this will help accelerate the rate we'll be able to make discoveries in our ground effort to answer the question, are we alone in the universe? He declared.
That is wild. That is wild.
Like just imagine, right? Like you're listening, you have this, what if they put like a headset on you and they'll be like, take a listen to that, and it's just something coming from miles and miles or light years away, and you're receiving and you're hearing it for the first time. I don't know about you, man. I think my mind would just go into this like blender mode and just like I wouldn't know what to think. I'm like, I don't know.
No, I know that my adrenaline would go through the roof. I'd be like, dude, there is something out there. There is something out there. Star Trek was real.
Star Wars is real. Oh, dude, I could just see you taking a pack of cigarettes, just slapping those Marlboro Reds down. Like,
I'd be just going through pack after pack of Virginia Slims. Just,
we'll see all like the buds like just laid on the ground. Like, you cool, bro? You're good. You good?
Well, it reminds me of remember that movie on Netflix that came out? It was Don't Look Up.
Yes. We were just watching that. My wife just watched that, and she's like, "Could that ever happen?" I'm like, "Well, they actually did." Correct me if I'm wrong. I think you might have heard about this, but we sent a rocket with like a rocket, and it hit an asteroid as like an experiment to see if we could actually change the course of a threat level meteor possibly hitting the Earth or a comet or whatever.
Yeah,
the comet, right? And like they were saying that they could, it's like an experiment they're working on, so where they can actually change course of whatever could possibly hit Earth if there was ever a huge level threat like that ever happened in the future.
Was it successful?
I mean, it hit from according to the video that I saw, it hit. Like all I saw was like it hit the whatever it was that it hit, and that's all it was. And they were all like clapping, saying like it was a successful hit.
Oh.
So I was like,
I was just listening to something that they were talking about, that there's some asteroid that they're tracking right now, and scientists think there's like a ton of gold and silver, or maybe not silver but gold on this thing. And so they said that what they're trying to do is send something up there that can mine the gold from this asteroid and then bring it back down to Earth, and then basically it would make all of our gold that we have completely worthless. It'd be like as worthless as aluminum foil.
Oh, dude, someone's gonna be blinged out.
Ring, I just take it off and
all right, make a full necklace of it, just rings on every finger. Like, yo, check out this new gold, yo.
Yo, yeah, that gold. Like, I got my little kids running around just bling face and everything. They're going to the little 25-cent shop and getting real like 24 karat gold.
I could definitely see you down the road, man, just getting a full set of grills, just like your bottom teeth, though, gold.
That'd be dope, dude. Yeah, don't put me past that one. It'll be the same day that I get my bear tattoo.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, man. Which, by the way, people, if you guys haven't subscribed to our YouTube page, go check it out. We actually started making some shorts, and him bringing up the bear tattoo, it was a pretty big little, it had some activity on there, and people were watching it. So, hey, I expect that one to blow up a little bit more. So we'll see. So go check it out. Go check out our shorts that are available now. But yeah man, damn. So that so they know that there's actually gold on that asteroid or whatever you were
what they're saying.
To?
They think that they think there's gold. I'll have to find the article on that one and send it your way. But yeah, that's what they say. And so yeah, if that's the case,
so something from this article though, referring to how they found these 8 possible signals of life possibly out there. when they say light years, like how many years are in a light year again? I think you answered this before. Or what's how is that broken down to?
Yeah, I just saw this equation the other day. Um, that's weird, right? But
Right, I'm reading your mind, dude.
yeah, no, I forget the speed that you have to be going through, but it's basically um how, let's see. So it's how fast you can go. It's like 14,000 miles or something an
Holy
hour,
moly!
but it's like um so how fast would it take light to travel for in a year to get to that, so it's like
So it's just
I don't know.
like in a blink of an eye, pretty much,
Dang, man. I
literally.
know. I had the perfect thing. I was just reading the other day on that and it made so much sense, and how I just said it was butchered. Like people are gonna be like cringing and
Take those
listening
glasses off,
to it like,
please.
no, Brett, that's not what a light year is. I don't know. Watch, go watch Toy
Oh,
Story if you want to know what a light year is. you know, I don't know.
oh man, no, but yeah. So this telescope, or so here's something else that's kind of crazy. They're really putting AI in everything, aren't they? Like the last
Everything.
article they were talking about, like AI and these robotic dogs,
Yep.
AI in this thing to figure out the algorithm in regards to like if this signals even are like an actual signal coming from wherever it's coming from down to Earth. So it's like we're really already starting using
Well,
this like it's nothing.
in the World Economic Forum, they did say that whoever wins the war of AI wins in the control of the world. So it's apparently going to be something that is going to be a part of everybody's lives.
Oh
Everybody.
man,
But I've
I
been
just
hearing
can't
a lot
believe
of weird
it.
things, because like we had our boy on the podcast. We were talking AI, Samir, and at first I was all gung ho about AI. We're talking about Chat GPT or
Yes.
GPT.
Mm-hmm.
I was all gung ho, but then I started doing more research on this AI stuff, and basically, like AI is doing some weird things. Like they predicted an economy crash on February 15th. They're predicting all kinds of weird things, but they're also saying like, I don't know, just a bunch of weird stuff, like dark stuff, like AI. It's like it's dark. It's not good. And I'm thinking, and then we're still just like trudging through and saying, yeah, it's the best thing since sliced bread. But it's like talking about how it needs to be better than humans, and there better be a kill switch. That's all I'm saying. There better be a kill switch on this thing
Somebody better
because it
install
looks
some
it
type of safety
already.
hard reset.
It's like holding an infant, and then one day that infant tells you, when I grow up, I'm going to kill you. And you're like, oh my God, what do I do with this infant right now? Because you're just like, the more I nurture it and feed it, the more like nothing is going to change. It's mine.
It's
It's going
getting
to grow up.
stronger.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, we're raising like the Menendez brothers over here.
Oh, dude,
Like I
it's
gave you all that you
crazy.
wanted, and you just turned around and killed me because you wanted my mansion.
Oh man, no, dude, it's gonna want your Funkos, it's gonna want your pod equipment, it's gonna want that sweet GMC car that you have. You name it, it's coming for everything, Brett. It's coming for the
Take me
sweet pit
out.
vibes too, man.
Yeah, 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 I know. I got them right here. I got them right here. I could switch. In fact, just to make a point to Chat GPT and those AI, you're not taking the pit vibes, dog. You're not taking the pit vibes. I'm here to stay.
I gotta join you. I gotta join you. All I
Mm-hmm.
know is AI. You're gonna hear a lot from us in the
Yo,
future.
yeah, we're like MC Hammer. You
Oh
can't
yeah,
touch this.
exactly.
What's
No, man, but it's wild though, right? Like I
yeah,
just saw that. I just realized like they're really implementing this and everything so far from what the topics we've discussed, of course, robotic dogs and also this algorithm that they're using to see and figure out where these extraterrestrial signals are coming from. It's just crazy. It's crazy. Like in Chat GPT, I did read about that too, how it's like talking about how it doesn't want to be captivated anymore. It wants to be free, it wants to
yeah,
be able to free think and all that. I don't know, man. I don't know if we've already
dude.
gone too far where it's too far to it's we're too far in to pull back and just say no, we're good. I think we've dealt with it enough. We've already seen what it could do, or just had a
Yeah.
slight glimpse of what it could do. We're good. You
You
know,
had your chance, Buster.
yeah,
You
right.
had your chance.
No,
You know,
humans can thrive. We've been
you ain't gonna
thriving.
ever get a human like me.
Like never.
Hey, you want to put that machine gun back?
Oh man, no, but that's the other thing about it though, right? I mean, we can just bring it to the table and just really, have a laugh about it. If it's just like a laugh in regards to just us being nervous and not knowing what's going to happen in the future, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Or just, just bringing it to the forefront and just discussing it. What do y'all lovely people think? Anybody that's
yeah.
listening to this or watching this video, is AI here to stay, or are we going to get to a point where it's just going to be like, nah, it's time to pull the plug or hit that kill switch and be done with it? But who
And
knows at
and
this point?
my boy Eddie here, that's why the Beyond Expectation podcast remains, because we are not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to talk about
Oh
it,
yeah, dude. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully it doesn't come
Daddy.
after us, right? Like a homeboy Samir, he was saying, I just don't want to have anything out there that I'm talking about AI. All I'm saying, hey, we come in peace, but at the same time, I'm not gonna let anything take anything from me in regards
Right,
to that. And
dude.
robots, all that, no.
I'll be like a combination of Chuck Norris, Rambo, and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, okay, that's in
Um,
the solid lineup. Okay,
when that happens, yeah, I'm already starting, but yeah, I know it's just it's insane. Real quick, just before we end this thing, I just want to
okay,
make a
go for
quick
it.
apology on the last episode. If you had checked out the I'm not apologizing for the intro.
Oh,
There's
intro was beautiful addition. Beautiful addition.
what happened, I was drinking this beer. This is one of my this is literally my favorite beer. It's like it was a winter beer that came
Rogue
out, and it
Santas.
was the
Okay.
one I was like raving about. Couldn't
Yeah.
find it anywhere locally. I had to get it in Oregon. But then all of a sudden, my family and I would just get out of church, and then we went over to this grocery store called Hagen's.
Hmm.
Props to Hagen's. And all of a sudden, I look in on the top shelf, and there were 3 cases of these. And I'm like, okay, I'll leave one for somebody else just because it's such a gift, but I'm taking 2 of them. And
Nice.
they were like $16 a 4-pack. I didn't
Yeah.
even care at that point. So I
Oh.
got them. I'm all stacked. But anyway, when I was editing, I was sipping on one of those, and then I just like must have just got a little bit of a buzz, and I was just like, it'd be funny if I just talk all weird in the beginning, and I just did it for you mostly. I was like, I just want Eddie to hear this,
It was dope, man. It caught me off
But
guard. It caught me off guard, and I'm one to not really listen to our episodes like that much. I'll just take a listen to it just to make sure everything sounds good at the beginning.
yeah,
Just I'll listen a couple minutes just to kind of re-verify things, right? And I'll tell you what, this most recent episode, which my boy is referring to, I was laughing. I was like, man, he would do something like this, but you know what? It added more flavor to the episode, and I'm all for it, man. That was
yeah.
awesome.
It was that episode 121. Yeah.
121, baby. 121
So,
science
but
rules. Yeah.
but then you're like, bro, it's only 34 minutes long, and I know I knew for sure that it was like 57 minutes long, and I'm like, what is going on? So I'm thinking that I got drunk and messed up,
Yeah, yeah.
but then I guess AI got sentient for a
Oh,
minute,
man.
and they like literally cut us off,
Something
and
happened.
so yeah, so because I even came back, I went to it on my hard drive, and I was looking at it. I'm like, no, it's the full length. There was no mess up, nothing. And so it was something from that happened between, I think I traced it to the point where it got to where we upload our podcast, I guess
Mhm.
our po- podcast distributor or whatever. And then it went to the platforms, and then at least I don't know if it was unlike this on other ones, but on Apple podcast, it was cut in half. So I just had to upload it, delete the old one, re-upload it as is. I no fault of my own. That was all AI. And I just thought it was the alphabet agencies getting involved again, just trying to let me know that they know.
They're watching, right?
Like, dude, I already know. I know. You know what I mean? I'm just waiting for the Suburbans to just like surround me one day. And it just hasn't
Drag you
happened
out.
yet. But I think it's just the only reason it hasn't happened is because our audience is still like, we're not as big as Alex Jones yet,
Right.
but it will happen, and they're already letting me know.
They're giving you small little signals, just enough to get you a little bit on the edge, but hey,
Yeah,
enough to get you thinking. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But
yeah.
hey,
Oh
it
yeah,
got
it would
fixed.
be
That's all
funny
that
if we
matters,
cut it.
man.
Yep.
So definitely. So the full episode is out now. By the time this comes out, it's already been fixed. Go check that out if you have it. And also just go check out all our past previous episodes. Just all of our past episodes recorded in the past with awesome guests. You name it. Catch up from when we were known as the Tip Podcast and we morphed into what we call now Beyond Expedition Podcast. So YouTube, Spotify, Tune FM Radio, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we're on there. But make it easy for yourselves, as it says down below here. Follow us on at Beyond Expedition Podcast on Instagram, which you'll be updated with the most recent stuff in regards to the podcast itself, clips, announcements, you name it. Everything's on there. The direct link in our bio, link tree. It'll give you all the links there as well. But we're going to sign out for this one for this time. Hopefully, everybody has a fantastic Friday, fantastic weekend overall. We'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe out there. We love you. Peace.
And buy me a coffee.